I've been blacklisted for a long time now. In Swaziland, by the pink list killers, by the world authorities who will not give me any passport, by the banks who will not have me open a bank account, and by YouTube who deleted entire channels of mine, and about 400 videos deleted that are gone forever now. So if you punch the words "The Order of the Garter" in YouTube, my film with 10,000 views will never be shown. But instead of that, even videos with only 50 views, and even all the garter pranks, and muff divers sticking their heads under a woman's dress, taking a female's garter off her thighs with their teeth and whatnot. All of this is shown to the slaves and by the slaves, but not my film. Everything else but my film, because it was made by HROSS. And so all my films get shadow banned. So not many people are offered the opportunity to watch and learn from them. Here, look, this is YouTube here. I punched in Order of the Garter in the search machine. So here's a film with 5,000 views. And if I scroll down, look. These are all the official ones, you know, from the media, the Telegraph, the AP here. Of course, they come first, you know, Pharaoh's word. You know, look, NBC Sports. I mean, what's NBC Sports got to do with the Order of the Garter? Well, of course, they know they're supposed to tell you the official story, the Daily Mail. You know, 3,000 views here. Look, only 93 views. This one here. Global News, AP. Oh, hello, darling. Yeah. Ah, this one here. Enoch Metatron. Is my name, but my film doesn't get shown. It doesn't even say Order of the Garter in the title, and it shows. How does he do that? I've got 10,000 views. It doesn't show. Yeah, 235, 155 views, but not my video. Nowhere to be seen. Completely shadow banned. See? The YouTube Nazis and the Google Nazis, they don't like what I'm doing. Go under the skirts. Oh yeah, that's what the slaves like. Oh, isn't that fantastic? Hey, what a level. Go find the garter. Yeah. That's funny, isn't it? That's the level of humanity, eh? So this after the move diving. Oh, cheers. Wasn't it great? Look, wasn't it great, eh? The Night of the Garter. They threw me out of Dailymotion. They threw me out of Vimeo. In Israel, I hardly get any views by it. You know, nobody is following me. Here in YouTube, I'm shadow banned. In Brighteon, I couldn't even make an account. Entirely blacklisted all over. Here, and YouTube even takes away my own comments, like under this video here. Here's the title: Behold the pale horse unicorn of the Order of the Garter, for the union of the Old World's Order with the New World's Order. It is 10,000 views, August 15th. I took my time, a couple of days, because, you know, I got 600 comments here, so it needs days, you know, in which time I can't make any other videos because I'm commenting, you know. But you know, I don't like it when YouTubers, you know, they get arrogant and, you know, because they have a lot of views, I don't want to do that, and they never answer you anymore. That's not my thing. So you see, I'm logged in with Sean Ross here. I can leave a comment here. Yeah, comment Sean Ross. There you go. But you know, all my comments, they disappeared. Like this one here with 83 thumbs up, and there are 4 replies. I did have my comment there, and it just disappeared. Look, it's not there anymore. Here, 15 replies, 54 thumbs up. Caesar did his thumb up, eh? But you see, my logo, the green logo, it's never, it's nowhere to be seen anymore. See? So YouTube even deletes my own comments, you know, so people they don't even see it that I'm commenting. So this is the logo, to show it one more time with the glasses and the flag. I didn't have anything else with me, you know, to make an icon, so I just used the stuff I had in my backpack. You see, it's nowhere to be seen. And it was there. So YouTube is even deleting my own comments, you know. What a shame. Canada belongs to the crown, and the Canadians are slaves of the royals. Therefore, the Canadian flag has the red and white colors of the pharaonic royal houses of the Per Het White House and the Per Tasser Red House. It has a square in white for the concept of 4, and in red a big fleur-de-lis and symbol of the French nobility, as both the Royal Old World Order and the Templar New World Order were founded in France, and the New World Order eventually realized in Switzerland. And each one of the 3 parts has again a fleur-de-lis. So there are altogether 4 times a fleur-de-lis in it, which is in itself the concept of 3 and times 4, saying concept of 4 and 3, meaning square and compass, while all the dumb slaves think it's a maple leaf. Yeah, sure it is. Here, look, the whole thing is a fleur-de-lis, and each one of them is another fleur-de-lis. It's always 3 things in it, you know, 1, 2, 3, and the whole thing has this 1, 2, 3. Pharaohs, they thought, oh look, what a magnificent tree, there's a fleur-de-lis in it, you know, and the whole thing here is a square, you know, and this is the Trinity here. So the concept of 3, like 1, 2, 3. So here's the concept of 3. And this, the square in white for the New World Order, is the concept of 4. So it does say square and compass. And of course, the New World Order in white of the Per Het, it's squeezed in between the Old World Order where they come from and in the middle. That's why the fleur-de-lis is red, because red is the color of our masters. And underneath, in this picture here, there's even a Templar's Tau symbol, coming from the pharaonic Ankh symbol for life, the life of Pharaoh's aristocracy only, of course. And of course, the fleur-de-lis is in red for the Old World Order, our masters' origin, and the white for the New World Order, squeezed in between 2 times the Old World Order nobility, which was before and after, and always will be. Well, at least that's what they hope to be. So you see here, here's, if you think the upper part away, you've got a tau symbol here. Here, under here, the T. Like going from here to here and leave this away, which is from the Ankh symbol. You know, if you think here, the round circle on top of this, you get the Ankh symbol. So even this is, in this picture here, there's definitely this T integrated in it, which is not a coincidence. So here you see the other flag of Canada, of Quebec, and it has the fleur de lis, which is the symbol of the French nobility, and which is the same as we just saw in red. You know, the country has it all over. And even the English nobility, they come out of the French nobility originally. And before that, they were in Rome, chased away. Before that, in Greece. Before that, in Persia. And before that, they all came from Egypt. So you got the same trinity here. The big one here, and then two at each side. This is in blue for the war and white for the New World Order. So both the Old World Order, with French as the worldwide aristocratic language, and the Templar New World Order from Troyes were made in France. And French women, through the jus prime noctis, made an alliance with the Old World Order nobility. All in all, leading to the murder of the French man in World War I, making a new race of French men, who are merely sex rabbits of the bred human race, who only think la femme and l'amour all the time, and therefore Frenchy betraying the jaywalkers to the Nazis in this Horus matrix breeding of modern man. And as the jaywalker women stayed like 100% loyal to their man, well, they had to go too, in a final solution, through the alliance of the European bitches and witches with Pharaoh's aristocracy. Nobody saw it coming. Well, why do you think that France is the first European country with that extensive amount of Muslims? Answer: they're next online for Pharaoh's Horus matrix, made in France. Therefore, it had to be in France that the global kickoff message for the actual bug war against humanity had to be given from out of France, and from the very place the Knights Templars would have been annihilated if they wouldn't have had their safe haven in the Swiss Alps. The global kickoff was on April 15th, 2019, when the Paris Cathedral Notre Dame burned down, the very same place where the French king burned the Templars in 1314. And April 15th, the very same date, the king's prosecutor, Guillaume de Nogaret, died, about which I made this video here on my channel Homeland Security, and the title is Suspicious Occult Coincidences, Notre Dame Arson Fire in Paris, related to Freemason Knights Templars. So Guillaume de Nogaret is the most hated and most feared man of all times for the Knights Templars and their Freemasons. Just as the Notre Dame is the most hated and most feared place on earth for the Knights Templars and their Freemasons, making it both the most perfect date and perfect place for the global bug war kickoff signal for a big international event being seen by the whole of humanity. So no risks that any one of them would miss out the message being sent through this occultly loaded global event. So just a few months late after the kickoff, just the time needed for necessary preparations, their bug war started 8 octagon months later, in December 2019. The time needed to inform all their total lie media, newspapers, TV stations, politicians, Freemason lodges, and the worldwide nobility. The fixed date for their bug war was, of course, on a Friday the 13th of the very same year of 2019, and octo months later. And in fact, the global bug wars against humanity started on Friday the 13th of December 2019, with Pharaoh's global media starting to indoctrinate our heads about their new invisible enemy all around us in the air we breathe. And look, they even say it themselves. The Homeland Security, they even say it, the invisible enemy. And of course, the government themselves knows best about invisible enemy, because they produce them themselves, as here in a CIA manual entitled Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. The invisible enemy, like the invisible hand of Freemasonry. They even say it themselves here in the middle of the Templars cross. Do not forget. Yeah, Friday the 13th. So Friday the 13th in 1307 was the date on which the Knights Templars got arrested, imprisoned, and consequently tortured, which is a date their New World Order Freemasons use to attack humanity. Like the big wave of kebab war attacks starting on Friday the 13th of November 2015, and of course in Paris, Isis, France, where also the Old World Order and the New World Order started in France. And here you see the multi-site, multimodal terrorist attacks in Paris on Friday the 13th. You see, there were 4 attacks simultaneously, which is the concept of 4, which is us, the base of a pyramid. The base of a pyramid is a square with 4 corners or 4 sides, which is us. We are down at the hierarchy, down at the pyramid. So this is a war against us. There is the concept of 4. This is not a coincidence, people. Through the kebab wars, our masters had hoped to spark a global race war, but it didn't work, because the white slaves are tired of waging wars after 2 devastating nobility world wars. This is called chronic combat fatigue. So they came up with Plan B, the bug wars, with the B for bug. Come on now, people. Even the children know that B is for bug. Please understand, I can't pronounce nor show certain words, nor show certain images, because of global censorship and the machine recognizing certain words and images. So I had to invent my own words like bug war, kebab war, jaywalker, pink list killer, Nubians, and the rest. Sorry for that. Just outsmarting the machine. So, because of the censorship, I have to let you read this in silence. It means, I can't pronounce it for you, but it means kill the stars. Just like the Canadian flag showing the concept of 4 and 3, there's also this Harry Potter logo of the Deathly Hallows, where you can see 3 triangles and 1 circle for the concept of 3, and altogether 4 times. And 2 times a 90 degrees square made by the vertical line on the horizontal line. So here you see, like, also this is 1 triangle, the big one. This is number 1. Here's 1, a triangle, and here's 1. So there are 3, and the circle. All of these are the concept of 3, so 4 times, which is the concept of 4 also. And here, this line here, the vertical touching the horizontal, it gives 90 degrees here. Thus, the logo saying square and compass for the initiated ones, and being smacked into the subconscious minds of our children, preparing the erasure of innocence on another level. All these logos, secret symbols, and encoded messages through numbers are very important to our masters, like the numbers of the beast 666, which I explain in this video here, after a vision I had 40 years ago, that the 666 is in fact www. The internet, being created by CERN, Switzerland, through which you can buy or sell. And this video, I made it like 2012, almost 10 years ago, on my channel Gatzefratz. Yeah. So the first step you have to take if you want to understand this number 666 is to visualize this number into Roman ciphers, because at the time, like in the year 70, when the vision was received, we didn't have these Arabic ciphers yet, which we call Arabic ciphers, but in fact they come from India. So, and these ciphers, they came with the Islamic expansion in the 7th century, before we had these sort of ciphers. And if you have a vision, which I had, it's many times it's blurry, you know, and you have to interpret it. So the thing he saw was this here, but there was nothing in that time that resembled this sort of a W. So with all the lines here, you know, like this, he thought it was this 666 and not this. And with this you can buy and sell. And now very soon, with their bug war and their green pass, it's already happening. They're going to stop you from buying and selling unless you have the green pass. And then you can go into the internet and buy and sell, even in shops. But this is happening now. And the Roman W, it was like, like this, very round. It's called the uncial. So there was really nothing else that resembled this. Only this resembled this. And this here shouldn't be visualized like this, but it should be like this. But 666 is maybe not the same as 666, which stands in fact on the $1 bill inside the MDCCLXXV1 for 1776, where 666 is DCL-XV1. So as you all know, there's nothing new. This here, MDCCLXXV1, it adds up to 1776. But in this number, it stands on the $1 bill. Well, I'm not going to show you that thing again, the $1 bill, that means. But here, DCLXV1, it stands for 666. The D is 500 and the C is 100. So that makes a 6 or 600, but in 666. Here's the 6. Then LX, L is 50. You can find it here, 50. Plus 10, it's 60. So that, covers one of the O's of 600. So you get 660. And then V1 is 6. And that covers the last O from 600. So inside the $1 bill, it does say 666. And of course, the usual pink list killers, they love to wear t-shirts with this letters on it, which is the Roman numeral of the beast. Now, D was 500, C is 100, so you get 600. L is 50, X is 10, so you get 60, so you already got 660. And V1 is 6, so it says 666. And all the pink list killers, they know this. But now, the interesting thing I'm going to show you now, if you distract this number, the DCLXV1, from the MDCCLXXV1, you get another number. And if you distract 666 from 1776, you get 1110, which is also a binary number of ones and O's, like used in your computer. And now just think of what I just told you before, that the 666, if you visualize it as a V1, V1, V1 Roman ciphers, you get www dot, the internet. The internet, binary code. Thus, reading in the binary code 16161610, or 1DC 1LX 1V1. And what happened in the year 1110, here you can see it, 1110, the Order of the Brothers Hospitallers of Jerusalem was created. They later became known as the Order of the Hospitallers, rivals of the Order of the Temple. Well, they were not really rivals, it was all the same bunch. So, what happens if you distract the ones who helped founding the New World Order from the year in which the New World Order was founded in the US? So you get 1776 minus 1110 is 666. And as it says, Novus Ordo Seclorum on the $1, actually meaning a new secular order. So the Antichrist will consequently not be some religious pope, but a secular person. Seclorum means worldly, as in secular. Seclorum, secular. It's almost the same word. The new worldly order. And here is the order of the Knights Templars of Jerusalem. It says the secular order militantes of the Temple of Jerusalem. A pluribus unum on the $1 means one out of many. Here, one from many. As in, where we go one, we go all. From the Templars saying, one for all and all for one. E pluribus unum. One from many. Same thing. The Antichrist is not anti or against Christ, or as Americans say, anti-Christ. As in the English language, it is a very bad translation out of Latin and leading to all those false Hollywood movies showing the dude as the devil, which he's not. In British English, you say anti, which should have been pronounced anti in proper English grammar pronunciation, just as the Americans pronounce the word anti as it should be, according to the English pronunciation rules. Therefore, in English, the word Antichrist is being pronounced correctly and with an E at the end of anti, but it is being written in a totally misleading way with an I at the end of anti, and of course done so on purpose by the secular masters. So in French they make a difference here, as you can see here. This is the real word of it, anti, and in English you would pronounce this anti here, and then they write it like this, and this you would pronounce anti-Christ, Christ in English. But because this here, Antichrist, it actually is Antichrist. So that's why this here, the writing of today in English, is being pronounced like this here, Antichrist. It's all mixed up on purpose. And this anti, it comes from the word anterior, which is correctly written in French, but not at all in English. So from now on, all you Bible bangers, please don't write this word in the misleading Hollywood manner anymore. Here it says anti from anterior, anti. So in fact the bloke is anti with an E at the end from the word anterior, meaning before, as being written here in French in the correct way with an E, anti. So here's the guy coming before Christ and paving the way, apparently, whom the jaywalkers call the Moshiach ben Yosef, paving the way for the real deal, called Moshiach ben David, their Messiah. So you see, their Moshiach ben David has a crown because he's from the royal house of King David, just like the Christian Jesus is. and the Moshiach ben Yosef as a crown of thorns, because in the Jaywalker books he's described as a good man fighting for justice, who has suffered tremendously. So, whether the bloke be the Christian Jesus Christ or the Jaywalker Moshiach ben David, in both cases he is from the nobility house of King David, who was a slayer of man, a genocider, and a collector of women, whom he no doubt raped as well. So you see, I read the Bible, I read the Old Testament. This is from the Old Testament, Samuel 18, 6-8. I also read the New Testament. I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Muslim, and I'm not a jaywalker. So this is from the New King James Version. I am a historian. So here it says, so the people went out into the field of battle against Israel. You see, a battle against Israel, against the jaywalkers. And the battle was in the woods of Ephraim. The people of Israel were overthrown there before the servants of David. Now, who are the servants of David? You know, we can see it happening today with the global blue army killing us, you know, preparing for the big kill in their uniforms, just like the Einsatzgruppen, the SS, you know. And a great slaughter of 20,000 took place that day. I mean, 20,000 is a lot in our days, but in those days, you know, it was immense. So King David and his servants, you know, meaning his soldiers and his uniformed armed force, they murdered 20,000 Israelites. I read in the German version there it really says the word Israelites. So King David, he murdered 20,000 Israelites, well, etc. And well, I could do a whole video about this, so I'm not going to show that all to you here. But King David, he did one genocide after the other. The guy was a butcher, a genocider, and a collector of women. Yeah, you can read it yourself. You know, it's not me, you know, who have been writing this down. So he murdered 20,000 jaywalkers. Why? Because this is a king. Yeah, he's a pharaoh. The whole Old Testament, it's only about kings and genocides, I tell you. It's a horrible book. It's only about one genocide after the other, and the kings are doing it. And it was not only King David and King Solomon. There are loads of like Middle Eastern pharaonic kings, you know, doing this. And even killing their own jaywalkers. Israel, here it says. Yeah, Samuel 23. And David came to his house at Jerusalem. And the king took the 10 women, his concubines. You see, his concubine. What is a concubine? You know, you use them in bed, don't you? Eh? Whom he had left to keep the house, and put them in ward, and fed them, but went not in unto them. Now, why, if he doesn't go into them, you know, or unto them, why do they call them the concubines? Come on now, eh? So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. And here as well, you know, the story about Bathsheba. There was this soldier, and King David really liked his wife, so I had the soldier killed, you know, send him into the war to the front as cannon fodder. So you could take the woman. He was really a collector of women, you know. Reminds me of Prince Andrew and the Jeffrey Epstein Island of the nobility, which was a Templars island. So David might not have killed Goliath. David is perhaps best known for fighting and killing the giant and Philistine champion Goliath with a slingshot, a suitable, awesome fate for the future king of Israel. But the Bible betrays some doubt about who deserved the credit. The second book of Samuel states that it was a man called Elhanan rather than David who bested the Philistine giant. He was both hero and anti-hero, so not, should say, anti-hero. Right? So the Americans pronounce it right. David, as depicted in the Hebrew Bible, is above all a man of profound contradictions. He's described as a man after God's own heart by one biblical author and a blood-stained fiend of hell by another. The word Satan is used in the Hebrew Bible to describe David as an adversary. You see, Satan, yeah? And the Messiah is supposed to come out of the house of David, out of this Satan, yeah? The Moshiach. Even the Hebrews, they say Satan. And he was really. He's depicted as feigning madness in a cowardly attempt to avoid the wrath of the king of the Philistines. And he carried off the wife of a man named Nabal after shaking him down for flocks and herds under threat of violence. God, do the same to me and more, vowed David as he and his army approached the estate of Nabal. According to the earthly translation of the King James Version, well, I read it in the German version, same thing. And if I leave alive until morning a single one who pisses against the wall. David was a stud. David means beloved of both God and humankind, especially women. It was the latter who used to chant, much to the consternation of David's predecessor, King Saul. Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. This guy was a butcher. And out of this guy, should come out of the house of David, the royal house of David, with a crown on his head, should come this Messiah or the Christ or the Moshiach. Come on, people, the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. He even killed his own jaywalker people by the tens of thousands. So, well, you can read the rest yourself. I'm not a theologist. I'm an historian. And I've got a real bad gut feeling about this because it doesn't fit. So King David is a bit of a royal mixture between the Afghan slayer, Prince Harry, and the child rapist, Prince Andrew. You see, nothing has changed. And it's still these pharaonic princes and kings abusing the slaves. So, honestly, as an historian, there's no good prognostics about this Messiah thing coming out of Pharaoh's house of manslayers and women rapists. I've got a bad gut feeling about it. It says in the Bible in Samuel 18:7 that King David, ancestor of the awaited one, killed 20,000 Israelites, and in Samuel 23 he imprisoned 10 girlies like Prince Andrew on Jeffrey Epstein's island. So King David and his men of aristocratic descent murdered 20,000 jaywalkers, just as we see it happening today with Pharaoh's worldwide army killing us. And you see how they wrote it down, 20,000. They wrote everything down, all the numbers, just as the Nazis did. And it's still this, and they are the same ones. The Nazi Templars, it's the aristocracy, it's Pharaoh, like King David. They're writing the numbers down because they like it. Well, I'd say we clean it up ourselves, the Germanic way, instead of waiting for some messiah out of Pharaoh's royal house of butchers and child rapists. And look, there's even the Royal Gibraltar Police. Well, whom do they serve, eh? Just like King David and his servants killing 20,000 jaywalkers. These are the servants of the royals, the Templars here, Le Fleur de Lis, where they came from, which is the symbol of the French nobility, another Templars cross. They're the ones they serve, and it says in the logo, the octagon logo, by the way. We all know by now what Pharaoh is doing to our Australian brothers and sisters being put in real concentration camps today, September 2021, and coming up for all of us worldwide. As concentration camps is a pharaonic invention anyway. And look whom they serve with honor, this pharaonic royal worldwide blue army. Yes, the Templars and the crown. Or do you think that red and white Nazi Templar cross in the original colors and Pharaoh's crown, also with red and white in it, for Pharaoh's red house per Tasser and Pharaoh's white house per Het, are accidentally there on the enemy's badge saying, "Oh, with honor we serve." Pharaoh's worldwide blue army serves the crown and the Nazi Templars, and they definitely not serve the people, nor your children. So, one more time. In French, they say it right, calling the dude l'Anté-Christ, the one who comes before. By the way, the jaywalkers don't hate the Christian Christ. They just don't accept him as their Moshiach or Messiah, because in their Moshiach story there is no resurrection. Well, that's all. Their Messiah only comes once and not twice. And it even says so in the Bible in Corinthians 15, 12 to 22, the resurrection of the dead. But I read it for you. But if it is preached that Christ has been raised from the dead, how can some of you say that there is no resurrection of the dead? If there is no resurrection of the dead, then not even Christ has been raised. And if Christ has not been raised, our preaching is useless, and so is your faith. More than that, we are then found to be false witnesses about God, for we have testified about God that he raised Christ from the dead, but he did not raise him if in fact the dead are not raised. For if the dead are not raised, then Christ has not been raised either. And if Christ has not been raised, your faith is futile. You are still in your sins. then those also who have fallen asleep in Christ are lost. If only for this life we have hope in Christ, we are of all people most to be pitied. It's very important to understand that those bloodthirsty Romans killed and crucified Jesus on his cross, showing the horizontal and vertical rule of our masters because of Pharaoh's internal war between the horizontal New World Order and the vertical Old World Order. Here it says, the Roman Republic, I'll read it for you. Rome was founded about 509 before Christ. Romans founded a new type of government called a republic. In a republic, people chose officials to represent them. And the highest form of government in Rome was the Senate. Senators were wealthy landowners called patricians, as we can still see today. Hey, Mr. Trump, Biden, Macron, and the rest of them. So you see the Roman Parliament. So Rome was a horizontal republican rule. And Jesus, out of the royal house of King David, the vertical Old World Order. And this is why the Republican Romans hung that humiliating shield around his neck on the cross, saying, INRI, for Jesus Nazarenus Rex Judeorum in Latin, meaning Jesus from Nazareth, the king of the jaywalkers. The whole story about the king of the jaywalkers tells the story about the nobility's internal war. And as Rome was a republic with a senate, parliament, and all that, they didn't want to hear about any royal descendants' houses and its kings with big palaces. Jesus, with only sandals on a donkey, tells the same tale and metaphor as two poor Templars on one horse. So both allegories tell the same story about poor noblemen without a kingdom, whether it be the Knights Templars or the descendants like Jesus of the King David, also without a kingdom, because the Roman Empire, the Republic, didn't want it. You see the dudes here already doing the hidden hand, the right hidden hand under the jacket, because the Freemasons, they come out of the Knights Templars. And this is old people, this is ancient stuff, and they're already showing it. And here, look, there's the concept of three, here, to breathe in like, which is them, meaning, you know, this is the nobility, that's where they come from. So, as there's nothing good coming out of this whole nobility, who think they are gods and sons of God, I can hardly imagine that the descendant of them and from the royal pharaonic house of King David is gonna save us. Therefore, and as everything is a lie by our masters, in which they changed the whole history by showing always themselves in the end as the heroes, the saints, the Peace Nobel Prize winners, and as the victors of everything. It must therefore be assumed that the Savior is not the one from Pharaoh's house of David, but rather the one who comes before, and consequently gets murdered by our masters, to be replaced with their own one, as usual, and as they always do. Therefore, if there will be a Saviour of man at all, it will be the Antichrist with an E, the one who comes before, whom the jaywalkers call the Moshiach ben Yosef, who has suffered tremendously to help mankind, and not the other one, the royal one, just taking all the glory for himself, for which the Moshiach ben Yosef, the anterior Christ, the Antichrist with an E, has worked so hard for. This is why the satanic Hollywood, the TV, Pharaoh's media, and all those books and newspapers all portray the one who comes before as someone bad and evil, because in the end their own man or entity is supposed to get all the credit in order to continue to abuse humanity. The only solution is to believe in ourselves and clean the mess up ourselves, because we can't take the risk anymore and wait any longer for that undefined celestial help without any proofs and without any certainty at all. And in that Bible, they don't even talk about you, as the Bible is an Oriental book for Middle Easterners only, in which their Middle Eastern God didn't even know about the existence of Europeans or Asians. We ain't in it. Not even in the Bible, you're in it. The Bible stops at the Mediterranean, because God did not know there were any white race Europeans or Chinese. Another thing some dogmatic Bible bangers keep repeating all the time in my mails, in the comments, is the Jesuits. But no one ever tells me why, nor does anyone brings me any facts at all. So without knowing why exactly, they all say that the Jesuits control the world. Probably after having believed for so many years the jaywalkers rule the world, or everything at the same time, probably. Okay, here we go. The Jesuits. It's very simple, if you know how the world works. So these are the two videos I'm going to refer to in a moment. Here's the title, and it is on the Israeli platform and also on YouTube. I don't remember which channel. Maybe it's on my Gure channel, or maybe it's on my Gatsefrats channel. I don't remember. And this one as well. So there are two videos. The Swiss Bees, Home of the Devil, Part 4, in this channel here. So I already explained you in several videos how Protestantism was founded by the Knights Templars in order to destabilize the French king, who traditionally was together with the Pope and Catholicism. And therefore, only 17 years later, after the beginning of Protestantism, on October 31st in 1517, by Martin Luther in Germany, the Jesuits were founded on August the 15th, 1534, in Paris, the capital of the French king, in order to destroy his adversaries, the Protestants. It was most of all the Frenchman Pierre Favre, who founded the Jesuits, accompanied by two Basques, Francis Xavier and Ignatius de Loyola, the latter becoming the first general of this French organization of the Jesuits. Here it's the same thing as always, as Ignatius de Loyola was an aristocrat and born in a castle. He got all the glory of being the father of the Jesuits, who were in fact founded here in Montmartre, Paris, France, as the French king was behind it all in order to crush the Knights Templars, the Freemasons, and their Protestantism. You can read it. Montmartre, 15 août 1534, August the 15th, 1534. Only 17 years later, after Martin Luther went to the church in Wittenberg in Germany and put the 95 claims on the door. So on one side, Templars, the New World Order, and their Protestants, and on the other side, the Jesuits out of the Old World Order and its Catholicism. It says a relation of the voyage to Siam, performed by 6 Jesuits sent by the French king. Although the Templars officially not existing anymore, but they were still there, the Templars and Jesuits were fierce enemies of each other at that time, but now all together peacefully amongst each other in the United World Order, in which in fact the Templars sort of won, you might say. So just as monarchs and Templars have unified in the Order of the Garter today, so have Jesuits and Templars unified, in which Templars take over the military actions for the Octagon of the Nazi Templars, and in which the Jesuits take care, well, they tend to take care of the educational and religious tasks in the Union, while the Freemasons take care of the political tasks and the bankers present the economical tasks. So I understand that when a Protestant sees so many influential personalities attending prestigious Jesuit schools, that the Jesuits therefore have presumably acquired all the power for them, totally ignoring, though, that these old enemies of Templars and Jesuits have been all united now, because they all come out of Pharaoh's aristocracy. The Knights Templars were all noblemen, and so was Ignatius de Loyola, born in the castle of Loyola, which you can see here. The masters have since long made peace with each other, but the slaves are still at war with each other and divided as usual, not knowing what's really going on. Divide et impera, divide and rule. Dumb slaves still divided over nothing and over a problem that wasn't even theirs in the first place. All this and the 30-year war between Protestants and Catholics was all part of the internal aristocratic war within the nobility. Only the dumb slaves don't know it yet, especially those stubborn, dogmatic religious freaks, whether they are Catholics Protestants, Muslims, or jaywalkers, the slaves are still divided over an initially internal quarrel within Pharaoh's nobility, from where the entire religion comes from anyway. Like the 42 divine principles of Ma'at, holding all the 10 commandments within, in order to make Pharaoh's obedient slaves, while our masters kill us by the millions. Our masters steal millions and use endless lies as their primary weapon against us. And we are supposed to keep some entirely useless 10 commandments out of the box of pharaonic fairy tales filled with religious hocus pocus.